Hey guys, Robbie here from CrossFit South Bend. Today I'm here with Dave, who is 3 months through his 6-month nutrition coaching program. So today is going to be part 1 of Dave's story, and then we're going to do another one of these in 3 months when Dave's done. So Dave, thanks so much for being with us here.
Absolutely, yeah.
So Dave, we're going to start talking a little bit about your journey. So you had actually done the Whole 30 before.
I had, probably a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Yeah, I just kind of did it on my own, just trying to get a little bit healthier. So just kind of went cold turkey with the Whole 30. Did it pretty clean for 30 days, but it was definitely difficult. And didn't follow the reintroduction protocol at all. Day 31, it was like all the foods that I could have again. So the long-term effect of it really wasn't very good.
Okay, so how's your experience been this time around with us introducing things a little bit more gradually?
Yeah, it's been completely the opposite. Kind of because we spent those first couple months kind of gradually getting the diet better. So by the time we did Whole 30, we were a couple months in. I was probably 90-95% with a pretty clean diet at that point. The Whole 30 this time has been really pretty easy. We're, I think, into the 7th week, so a couple weeks past the 30. We added beans back in for a few days, but I haven't had any strong desire to add stuff back in my diet this time. So it's been pretty easy to keep my diet clean. I think it's just because of working for 2 months, getting the diet fairly clean before starting the Whole 30. I think it made a huge difference.
Absolutely. So we just did Dave's weights, measurements and pictures, and he lost 27 pounds and 5 inches off his waist. We were talking about how he's been buying new pants. Tell us a bit about, the body composition stuff, how you've been feeling in your clothes, how you've been performing in the gym. How's all that stuff been?
Yeah, it's been good. And I mean, the clothes is a good way to kind of judge. I had clothes that I had fitted Christmas time last year that I had to take back in. I literally can't. I mean, if we put them on, they almost fall off. Same thing with jeans that I bought last year. So, I mean, that's probably where I see the biggest difference is weighing, putting on clothes that fit well 6 months ago that I literally can't wear anymore.
Yeah.
The gym workouts, probably the biggest difference I've noticed is in recovery. I recover a lot better than I used to. Very little, other than just kind of some normal soreness, but very little soreness. And I had done CrossFit about a year and a half, 2 years ago, for about a year. And one of the reasons I stopped was I hurt all the time. So beyond just kind of normal soreness, almost never felt good, wasn't recovering well. But my diet wasn't very clean then either.
Right.
So the biggest difference this time is just having a clean diet. And I generally feel good. I feel like my recovery is good. I feel like I've gained strength since I've been here. So yeah, it's all good.
That's excellent. So you have a family, you have a job, you travel, you've got all these different responsibilities that you deal with.
Yeah.
How has eating this way been with all those different responsibilities?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the biggest challenge to it is, I used to eat out probably almost every day for lunch. And a lot with clients, but a lot of just not wanting to bring lunch with me to work, so we go to different places for lunch. That's, especially during the 30 days of the Whole 30, I'm not sure I ate out for lunch at all, or very seldom. So it's doing the constant meal prep, and that was a big thing to get used to, of having to have more than a couple days food at a time, or doing Sunday nights to meal prep for the week. But just getting used to that. But once I got into a rhythm with it, it got fairly easy. So, and fortunately, I like all the food, so I don't feel like there's food that, I gotta eat this again, or, all the food's good.
Right.
It's just getting prepared and planning ahead enough that I don't get stuck without food.
Good.
That's a problem.
Yeah, that preparation.
Yeah.
So you talked about this a little bit already, feeling like you're recovering better and have less
Yeah.
inflammation. Tell us about, have you experienced any non-body composition benefits from the Whole30? Things like energy or mood or cravings or sleep, any things like that, have they happened while we've been working together?
Yeah, cravings have definitely almost completely gone away. I used to, have a fair amount of sugar cravings, so, and it seemed like if I had sugar, I wanted more, so it was like almost a snowball effect with eating bad foods. To where now, honestly, sugary food doesn't really sound good. I used to drink a lot of Diet Coke.
Yeah.
I haven't had probably 4 months now since I've had one, and it's just something that doesn't sound good anymore. And I don't track quantities of what I eat, but I'm just not hungry as often.
Yeah.
So it's much easier to go in between meals without food, or I very seldom eat after dinner. Where I used to eat a fair amount after dinner before.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I think, probably regulating sugar intake has kept cravings out.
Yeah.
It's where it's just easier to just kind of eat normal meals, and from that standpoint, sleep was pretty good. It's good now, but it was pretty good before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So you and I have talked about this extensively, where you can't convince someone who's not antecedently interested in
Right.
doing something that they don't want to do. But let's say you were to encounter someone who was kind of in your shoes 3 months ago. They're like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm thinking about it. I've done a Whole30 before, but I'm not sure if this will be the difference. What would you say to someone who's kind of on the fence and thinking about it in your experience?
Yeah, I would say, especially somebody that hasn't done it or didn't do it kind of the way that you had us progress through it, it's a lot easier than it sounds. It really hasn't been, there's been challenges, but it hasn't been a big challenge going through. And just, I feel so much better than I did 3-4 months ago.
Yeah.
So it's not, it sounds like a big sacrifice. I remember listening to a podcast probably a year or more ago. I can't remember the name of the guy they were talking to, but he eats, basically a paleo diet. And he was talking about cheat days, and his, thing was he doesn't do cheat days. He just doesn't cheat. I remember listening to that a year ago going, how can you do that?
Right.
It's like, I want, at least a couple a week. But after doing it with very little cheats, especially in the last couple months, the cravings go away. So it's much easier to almost eat properly than it is to have cheats back in. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it just became easier.
Yeah. So, guys, Dave has done an incredible job. 30 pounds, 5 inches, throwing pants away,
Right.
getting PRs in the gym, doing an awesome job. So this was part 1 of Dave's story, and in a few months after the holidays, we'll do part 2 and kind of check back in. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Dave, thank you so much for being here,
Good.
and we'll see you guys next time.